he's just fantastic, and I just hate to think of him going back into a wheelchair again.
The new arthritis drug changing lives.
I couldn't walk before, so that's quite amazing.
As long as you can pay full price.
I need it but can't afford it. Why won't they help us?
Plus,
I was just a slob. I drink like a fish.
the trimmed-down truckie leading the fight against Australia's obesity epidemic.
I feel magnificent. I feel 100% better on what I did.
So your life's good because his life's good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everyone's happy.
Those stories a little later. Also tonight, the young model turning heads. And not just because of her good looks. She's beaten incredible setbacks to become a real inspiration. But first, the drug that's making so much difference for so many sufferers of rheumatoid arthritis. There are now 500,000 of them in Australia. And those who are severely affected have to deal with one of the most painful and debilitating conditions imaginable. But there is hope in the form of a new drug that's now being subsidised for patients in more than a dozen countries around the globe. But not here.
I don't want to go back in a wheelchair because when I was little, I used to be in a wheelchair and this kid used to pick on me and the teacher wouldn't do much.
What did the kid used to say?
He used to say I was shorty and that I was wheelchair boy. I didn't like it.
It's often said you can't put a price on life, but for thousands of rheumatoid arthritis sufferers, quality of life costs $18,000 a year.
I guess I was lucky enough that I could afford to pay for the drug, but you definitely have to have a very strict budget in place and forego a lot of other things.
Donna Prittis has been taking Enbrel for 6 months. It's among a new class of drugs that reduce symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis. In clinical trials, Enbrel was shown to inhibit progression of the disease in 65% of patients.
It probably sounds a little bit dramatic, but it's given me back my life. I couldn't walk before. If I was able to get myself from the bedroom to the bathroom, I was having a good day. Whereas now I can walk for a few hours at a time. So that's quite amazing.
6 months ago, 11-year-old Martin Ricks couldn't walk, let alone run. He's even swimming twice a week now and hopes to make it to the Paralympics one day. All this thanks to Enbrel, which for now is being provided free of charge by Westmead's Children's Hospital. But they won't be funding it forever, and Cheryl Ricks and her husband just can't afford the $1,500 a month it would cost to keep their son on it.
At the moment, he's just fantastic, and I just hate to think of him going back into a wheelchair again. He's able to walk home from school, and that's just something that you never would have dreamed of before.
I had this hip replaced 3 times, complete steel knees, complete knee replacements. What else have I had done? A shoulder replacement. I've got steel rods in my wrists. I've had my feet fused and reconstructed. And then I've had my knuckles replaced twice on both hands.
Debbie Orchiston was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis when she was 8. Since then, it's got progressively worse, and simple everyday things like going to the bathroom are now a struggle. Holding on to fiddly objects is also a challenge. Doctors say she's a perfect candidate for Enbrel.
What they call is a type of remission where you don't have a flare-up, where you don't have any pain in the morning, where you don't... you act kind of normal.
And they've said that's possible with Enbrel?
Mm-hmm. But it's just the expense. I need it but can't afford it. Why won't they help us?
Since its marketing approval 2 years ago, Enbrel has been subsidised by governments in 16 countries, including New Zealand, the United States, Britain and most of Europe. But here in Australia, the Pharmaceutical Benefits Advisory Committee has knocked it back twice.
It's very difficult. We feel very frustrated with our patients about the cost.
Arthritis specialist Dr David Champion has trialled Enbrel on 5 patients. One developed a serious infection and discontinued the drug, but the others have had good results.
One patient in particular was in such a deep hole that it was quite remarkable, her recovery. Inability to work, needing hip replacement, depressed, generally unable to function. All of those have been completely overcome.
The Pharmaceutical Benefits Advisory Committee has knocked back Enbrel on 3 main grounds. It's not convinced there's evidence to suggest it does improve quality of life enough to justify the high price tag. It's concerned too many people will get access to the drug who don't necessarily need it, pushing up the cost. But ultimately, the main reason they've decided against subsidising Enbrel is because they simply don't believe it's cost-effective to do so.
How can they say it's not cost effective when prior to taking it, I was at a stage where I was looking at giving up working. I would have ended up on some form of social security payments where the government was actually paying me.
I can't understand the government not looking at the big picture or even to think of what changes they'll make to people's lives. I can't understand how they can just look at the drug and the cost and then that's it and just say, no, it's too expensive, forget it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Emma Alberici with that report. And the manufacturers, Wyeth, have now resubmitted that drug for consideration by the Pharmaceutical Benefits Advisory Committee a 3rd time, and will certainly be keeping an eye on any decision. Now to the incredible courage and determination displayed by a young woman who found herself confronted by what could have been an overwhelming physical challenge. But instead of letting it destroy her dreams, it became the motivation for her inspiring story.
No smile this time. Just let your lips open up just so that you get that slight sexy look.
She's young, she's clever, and she's drop-dead gorgeous. On the surface, Lara Hollow-Williams has it all, but nothing could be further from the truth. Underneath that long dark hair hide hearing aids. Behind those piercing blue eyes is a world of growing darkness. You see, this glamorous 20-year-old is almost deaf and legally blind.
I'm scared that people are going to know me and realise that I have this hearing impairment and this vision impairment and want to turn away from that.
Lara has Usher syndrome. She was born severely deaf, but it's only now that the genetic condition has taken over her sight.
And there's a black growth going across the retina where the cells have died.
Still in shock after being diagnosed, Lara spent her 19th birthday surrendering her driver's licence and applying for a disability pension.
It was hard to believe that maybe I'd end up with a guide dog or a cane, and that was the scariest part.
Bring your arm around. Get this leg right up high. She's just a beautiful girl.
Lou Tamblin runs Tamblin Model Management. When Lara was diagnosed, she knocked on Lou's door and told him she refused to be a disabled pensioner. She was going to be a model, and she wanted her own calendar.
When she approached me, I said, yeah, let's go for it. Let's just try and see what comes out of it.
Well, this is the stunning result.
Thank you very much.
Her sexy calendar is being snapped up faster than Lara can autograph it.
It's hot. That's all I can say.
You bought that for your husband?
Yeah.
What do you think he'll think of it?
Oh, great. He'll think it was real great. Yeah.
It's a bit raunchy.
Oh, well, you're going to show every part of your personality, but it's tasteful.
So you don't mind being seen as a sex symbol?
No, I don't mind that at all. You can complain about that.
Lara charges $5 for her calendar, and every cent of that goes to the charity so close to her heart, Retina Australia.
Can't remember what she quite called us, but she said, I'm the young'un and I'm here to help. I remember that was one of her statements, and I really loved that.
Retina Australia's Peter Vance is also legally blind. Lara turned to him for help.
And she was, one who came through the door, quite desperate at the time, a bit confused, a bit frustrated, a bit angry. When you finally come to accept that situation, often you can find new doors will open. And I think that's, in Lara's case, that's, really what's happened. She's had a very positive attitude.
She is one inspirational young lady. Her attitude towards her future is just incredible.
She's become a bit of a celebrity wherever she goes, her amazing courage winning over the toughest of crowds.
I suggest you do get her autograph because this lady is going to go places very, very quickly.
Beautiful. Yeah, great. I really wish her well.
I think she's marvellous. Good for her. Give it 10 out of 10.
Welcome, Lara, to the club today, and Lara, over to you. Thank you.
Her self-promotion has also made her a star as a public speaker.
Live every day to the fullest. You just never know when something precious is going to be taken away from you. It is frightening not knowing, and I guess that's what makes me live every day today to the fullest, because I think, well, I don't know where I'm going to be in a year's time. I don't know whether I'm going to have a guide dog in 6 months or a year's time. So that's what makes me just go out there and say, well, right, I'm going to make the best of today then.
Usher syndrome may have robbed this brave young woman of her sight and hearing, but it will never take away her determination.
I believe that everyone who has maybe less eyesight, less hearing, whatever that is, they've got something else that no one else has.
It's great for her. I hope she does really, really well. You know, she's got a very positive attitude, and we're going to help her. We're going to help her all that we can.
You don't meet too many people like that, so yeah, really, really inspiring. I really admire her. It's great what she's doing.
What does the future hold for Lara?
Lots. Lots and lots and lots. Big things, I think.
No doubt about it. Amanda Patterson reporting there on Lara's story. Still to come, the truckie who's become an unlikely role model in Australia's battle to the bulge, and your say on light sentences imposed by our courts.
This program brought to you by the Quick Pulsar sale, where you can get $1,200 off a 1.8 litre sedan or hatch.
The Rivers 4-pocket shirt is an extremely multifunctional shirt. Great for travelling, or just great for knocking about when you need extra pockets to put things in. The Rivers 4-pocket shirt is made from heavy-duty 6-ounce drill. It has Velcro fasteners on all pockets for easy access and security. It has been pre-washed, pre-shrunk, and has a generous fit. The Rivers 4-pocket shirt is not only comfortable to wear, durable, it looks great, it is a very functional shirt as well.
Update now at Retrovision for all the latest technology and newest releases at the best prices. Like the new Panasonic 5-disc Hi-Fi, just $399. The ASCO 6-kilo washer with 4 bonus towels is $15.99. Stay warm this winter with Fujitsu split system air conditioning from $1,099. And Sunbeam electric blankets start at just $34.90. The time to update is now.
The only decision, Retrovision. We've got it!
The Quick Pulsar sale ends soon. If you want the quicker, more powerful 1.8 litre Pulsar, you can still get $1,200 off the sedan or hatch. You also get air conditioning, airbag, keyless entry, CD player, and all for only $20,490 with air. Just try and find a better value 1.8. The Quick Pulsar sale ends April 30, so you'd better be quick.
Over twice the size of Uluru, more awesome than the 12 Apostles, and millions of years older than the Barrier Reef.
One of the world's most extraordinary natural wonders.
Tonight, our secret wonder down under.
It's still very sacred to us.
Discovered on Getaway. Plus, chill out and stay the night with Japan's famous snow monkeys. Or turn up the heat as we discover tandem surfing.
Now that's filthy.
All new Getaway, 7:30 tonight.
Well, now to these. The response from viewers around the country to the judge who invited public feedback on the issue of lenient sentences. Queensland District Court Judge Robert Hall was the target of much criticism after one recent case he handled. He then questioned whether it was only the media and what he called a redneck element of the community which really believes our courts are often soft on offenders. And he said he'd like to know what the wider public was thinking. Well, Judge Hall, here are your answers. Nearly 1,200 emails and around 600 letters were received to pass on to Judge Hall, almost 2,000 pages in all. And the overwhelming majority of these people are concerned about trends in sentencing. Now, Judge Hall will obviously need quite some time to digest all this material, but when he's done so, we hope he'll give us his response to what you have had to say. Moving on now to what's been described as a time bomb ticking away for thousands of Australians. They're workers who've had past exposure to asbestos, sometimes without even knowing it. But now our health system faces a costly explosion in cases of asbestos-related illness.
Barry, what's asbestos done to you?
Virtually killed me.
a vegetable as it is now.
For 22 years, this has been a daily ritual for Barry Lewis, a one-time rigger in Victoria's old State Electricity Commission.
And heart, 5 bypasses done on the heart, vascular surgery, I've had 5 bubbles put into the veins, a stent put into the heart to hold the heart up.
I feel cheated, and I think it's a horrible thing for anyone to have to go through. And if you've watched anyone suffocate to death, it's just disgusting. I wouldn't want to see anybody go through that.
Vicky Hamilton now remembers with horror her father and grandfather coming home to their families coated in asbestos dust.
Me running up to him and giving him a kiss and wiping it off his chin and saying, "Oh, look, you look like Santa Claus." That was my first memories of asbestos.
Because he was a lagger, he handled the raw asbestos, and he used to pick the kids up and kiss them and give them a cuddle when he came home from work, like any father would do.
Coated in asbestos.
Yeah.
Faye Needham says her husband Arnold is another victim of the silent killer, which has claimed countless lives in Victoria's industrial Latrobe Valley, the key supplier of power to Victoria and South Australia.
He has lost his kidneys. His lungs are very coated with asbestos. He's lost both legs, and his hands are on the way out. He's not a healthy boy at all.
How old is he now?
66.
Do you think he'll be around for a lot longer?
This week I would surprise me if I didn't have him much more than a couple of weeks.
Between the 1930s and 1980s, asbestos was used in the construction of just about everything as Australia industrialised, from the pipes, walls and floors in the power stations to the homes of those who worked in them. 20 years ago, it was finally made public what many had long feared. Asbestos is one of the most deadly materials known to man.
And just remember that those power stations and the electricity that they produce has not only been built on the sweat of the workers of the Latrobe Valley, but also on their blood.
Dr Tony Sassy says the great tragedy for those workers exposed to asbestos is that authorities across the country are now wiping their hands of the men and women who spent their lives in state-owned power stations.
In the power industry right across the country, asbestos has been widely used. It is a national problem, without doubt, particularly also in the Hunter Valley of New South Wales.
According to doctors, the life expectancy for a former power station worker here in Victoria's Latrobe Valley is just 55. It's known that 140,000 people worked in these stations over the danger period. But that doesn't include contractors, visitors, or the workers' families who were also exposed to deadly asbestos on almost a daily basis. The experts say that here alone, the death toll in the next few years will measure in the thousands.
Well, we were cheap workforce, weren't we, to keep the Electricity Commission going? And it didn't really matter, did it? That's how I'm starting to look at it. That's how I feel now, that my father was just expendable.
Some families threatened legal action and were paid out. Barry Lewis won a paltry $35,000 for his death sentence. Now, however, thousands of former workers are sick and approaching their life expectancy. Victims say that is a ticking time bomb, which governments fear will cost an estimated $6 billion in compensation.
You've got to understand I was a very, very sick man at the time when they paid me off, and the solicitors told me to take 3 years to take it to court, and then it wasn't guaranteed.
There really should be a very simple, no-fault, straight up and down compensation system that takes the stress off the families.
I'm angry because we can't make a claim now. We don't want money. A 5 cent claim, a 5 cent win would just prove that it wasn't our fault.
Sadly, this is a problem which won't go away. Industrial Australia is still thick with asbestos, and those who spent a lifetime breathing it in.
From my house, I can see 26 houses from my front gate of people that have been very sick or have died of asbestos.
Glenn Conley with that report. And a change of pace next, as we meet the truckie who wants to lighten the load that many Australians are carrying. And he's setting the example.
I was an absolute pig. I feel 100% better on what I did, or 200%.
He's just a different man.
Friday Saturday football, an explosive showdown, both on a mission to prove superiority. From Colonial Stadium, the Essendon Bombers take on the Adelaide Crows. 8:30 Friday on the new home of AFL, Win Television.
The quick Pulsar sale ends soon. If you want the quicker, more powerful 1.8 litre Pulsar, you can still get $1,200 off the sedan or hatch. You also get air conditioning, airbag, keyless entry, CD player, and all for only $20,490 with air. Just try and find a better value 1.8. The quick Pulsar sale ends April 30, so you better be quick.
Whoever you are, with a ticket in the $16 million Tats Lotto Super Draw, life could be a dream. On Saturday, April 20.
Parascarf is ripping 25% off men's and women's clothing, including underwear and sleepwear. Parascarf is ripping 25% off kids' clothing. Parascarf is ripping 25% off sports clothing. Parascarf is ripping 20% off sheets, bed linen and towels. Parascarf is ripping 25% off men's, women's, kids and sports clothing, including underwear and sleepwear, and 20% off sheets, bed linen and towels. But only until this Friday. Be quick before it's all gone.
Bring your ute, truck or trailer to Allen's Garden Centre Prospect this weekend and stock up on P-Store, spring bulbs or any plants you need because you'll save 20% off. There's also hundreds of bargains in the car park with shrubs and camellias at half price. Don't miss it this weekend at Allen's.
No repayments at 40 winks until 365 sleeps. That's no repayments until April 2003. No deposit at 40 winks and 24 months interest-free. No repayments for 365 sleeps. Hurry, ends Sunday.
New Uncle Toby's Soft Bakes, a soft and moist muesli bar with a layer of luscious real fruit topped with lightly toasted Uncle Toby's oats. New Uncle Toby's Soft Bakes, they're a seriously good munch.
Saturday.
I think you're going to look great in a tux.
What? When a girl makes her debut, her dad has to be there.
Love you. I want to have your baby. Oops, too late.
It's going to be a very special Gilmore Girls, Saturday, 7:30.
Obesity in Australia is fast becoming an epidemic. More than 50% of men and women and a disturbing 20% of children are now medically overweight. One of them used to be a Tasmanian truckie. He said he got to the stage where he was too ashamed to even take off his shirt. But now, in his own words, he's gone from fat to fabulous. And he says anyone can do it.
Peter, describe to me what you were like 12 months ago.
Well, I was just a slob. I drank like a fish. Spent no time with my family. All I worried about was getting home and ripping the lid off one and having a few beers.
You were a grotesque individual, weren't you?
I was an absolute pig.
Peter Scavorrell says he was a good-for-nothing swine. And even his wife Odessa admits he was a frightful bore.
Lazy. Didn't want to do anything. I'd be the one that says, come for a walk. No, I'm watching telly. I'm watching the footy. I'm having me beer.
What was it like when he took you to school?
Embarrassing.
Why was it embarrassing?
Because he was so fat. Yeah.
Then one day, the man who horrified even himself had had enough.
I decided to enter Blitz Publications' Australian Ironman's 12-week challenge. And I thought if I become a monthly winner, I'll make a video. Well, guess what? I become grand champion.
In just 12 weeks, Peter lost more than 21.5 kilograms, mostly from his gut. It's hard to believe this used to be this.
Dripping. Extra dripping.
If he hadn't filmed it himself, it's a slim chance anyone would believe him.
I've decided to put this video together just to really show you that average people can do it. I'm just an average truck driver. I'm no famous star or anything like that that's put together a video.
The Tassie truckie from Burnie had a dreadful diet, full of fats. Worse, he was driven to drink. 3.5 slabs of beer every week. Worse still, he never exercised.
It's 6 o'clock Sunday morning, and it's officially my day off. It's still dark outside, but I'm that determined. Life's great, I'm enjoying life. Like before, I was just in a rut and life was slipping me by. I didn't Like I said, all I was looking forward to was my weekends, and it was just a rut.
Was he attractive with no clothes on?
Should I say this on camera?
Yeah.
He was a bloody mess. He was awful. Sorry, Peter.
Does your wife think you're a much more attractive individual now?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Can't keep her hands off you?
Well, I'd like to think that was the case.
Do you throw yourself at him now?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You do?
Yep.
So you...
Sorry, Mum.
But you find him a lot more... Well, let's be honest about this.
Yeah. Well.
You find him a lot more sexually attractive?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, look at it. He's just a different man.
The breweries miss him, along with the fast food shops, but the kids couldn't be happier. They've got their dad back.
Are you proud of him now?
Yep.
I sat down and planned a healthy eating diet, the right exercise program, with a bit of determination and motivation, and I just showed my friends that I can do it in 12 weeks.
I'll make your lunch today. How's that?
That'll be nice, as long as you don't contaminate it with any junk.
No, I won't put any junk in it. What would you like in it? Some broccoli?
Oh, well, just as long
I
as
just can't explain how good it is. It's just great.
So your life's good because his life's good?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy.
You're magnificent.
I feel magnificent. I feel 100% better than what I did, or 200%.
You're a lucky woman.
Very lucky.
Having such a magnificent man.
I am, aren't I?
What do you reckon?
Martin King reporting there. And Peter's weight loss tips can be found on our website. There's the address, 9msn.com.au/ACA. And Peter tells us he now plans to put some weight back on, only this time in the form of muscle, because his next goal is to become Mr. Universe. Back after the break.
In this battle, his life will be torn apart.